Today we're doing a mock test with Jake. Jake, tell him how many lessons you've had with me.
3.
3, but you've had lessons with another instructor, haven't you?
Yes.
How many hours have you had with them?
I'd say maybe 20.
20 hours, and he's got a car. He's had a bit of practice in that, haven't you?
Yeah.
How did it go learn with the other in school, the driving instructor?
It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. Well, you should have come to me.
I know.
I taught both of his sisters. Then he goes elsewhere. Just out of curiosity, I remember one of his sisters. Which one was it?
A Paige.
Paige, that's the one. She nearly wiped me out. She nearly killed me on a roundabout. We come to roundabout on a mock test. It was our first one. She looked to the right. There was, I think, it was a double-decker bus or a wagon, and it was about a car length away. And she pulled out on the roundabout. She frightened the life out of me. And she didn't do it once. She done it twice. And just before we start this mock test, I have to apologise to Amy, because the first mock test I gave Amy was me being at my brutal best. I only reserve that type of mock test for the boy races. So I do apologise, Amy. I'm not going to be as brutal with this guy today, because I don't think he's a boy racer. I think he's going to have a sensible attitude, this one. Right, would you like me to tell you a bit about the test, or you just want to get on with it?
Could you tell me a bit about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
38 to 40 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Depending on traffic, taking in various traffic and road conditions, possibly one manoeuvre, possibly the control stop.
Right.
And you will be driving independently by way of sat-nav signs. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Throughout the drive, I'd like to follow the road ahead at all times unless you're directed by signs or markings, or I'll ask you to turn, which I will do some good time. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Good. Right, one question before we start. Can you tell me how you would check your head restraint set correctly?
The ball of the head should be in the middle of the head restraint.
Good. Okay then, you want to do signs, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, strut your stuff, Jake.
Okay.
Chill your beans and we should get a good drive.
Okay.
So you just turn out of here and turn to the right and then turn left.
Okay.
Got that air cooler to keep you nice and cool. So turning left. Minor fault number 1 for Jake. Jake, when you merge out of this junction, you swing wide. Now, had there been a car coming your way and you slowed that car down, you would have gotten a serious fault. Now, why you've done this for is you weren't following the curb around with them eyes of yours. And at the end of the road, turn left. Show me how you clean the front window screen with the washers and wipers. I like the planning ahead here from Jake. What he does is he sees the wagons parked on the left and right hand side. He sees an oncoming vehicle. So he spots it nice and early and he's looking to hold back, and then the van flashes him, so he decides to go through. So this is good work, Jake, but remember, don't you flash anybody on your driving test unless it's to warn people of your presence. Minor fault number 2 for you, Jake. You see this junction on the right hand side? It's not that busy, but there is a big car park up there, so there could be quite a few cars parked in there. So you've got to be 10 metres away from them. And you remember, if it's a busy junction, you could be looking at a serious fault for this. So you could have pulled up 10 metres past this junction on the right, or 10 metres before it. independent drive. Drive to the end of the road, turn left, follow signs for Darwin. I will change him, but I'll tell you in plenty of time. Okay, it's going to last about 20 minutes. Jake left his signal on back there, but I didn't mark it because it wasn't on that long, and it didn't affect any other road users. Now, Jake's, to me, is quite a nervous learner. However, he's looking pretty confident here. I'm liking his mirror work. He gets out on this open road. He makes good progress. His gear changes are nice and smooth. He's aware of what's happening behind and to the sides. So it's looking good, Jake. Wow, you can tell I never taught this guy. His mirror work on approach is perfect. The speed on approach is excellent. Timing of the gear, early observations, good mirrors and signal when leaving the roundabout. Jake, he's showing off here, young man. Minor fault number 3 for Jake. Jake, what happens is you slow down as if you're giving way. Now, there was a car behind and it was pretty close. Now, I have had pupils fail on this particular roundabout because they slowed down too much. So your clue that you know that you don't give way at the roundabout is, have a look at this sign. If you look at your entrance onto the roundabout, it's on the left-hand side. That normally means you don't give way to the right. When you approach a roundabout and the entrance onto the roundabout is down the middle, then that means you give way to the right. This was close to being a serious fault. More nice work from Jake on approach to this roundabout. He spots the sign nice and early, uses them mirrors more than what I do. Speed on approach is time to perfection, gear, time to perfection, and when leaving the roundabout he uses a mirror signal, all good stuff. Position throughout the roundabout is also excellent, so well done, Jake. More good mirror work from Jake. He spots the van well ahead and he checks his mirrors to see if it's safe to move out to overtake the parked vehicle. fourth minor fault for Jake. What happens, Jake? Jake goes the wrong way. Jake, if you look at this sign, I said right Bishop Auckland A68. You can see it's right third exit. You've got 4 lanes on approach to the roundabout. There's nowhere on earth you should be looking at the left in first and second lanes from the left. You should be looking at the third and fourth lane. So when you got close, you should have used your mirrors, got the signal on, positioned to the centre line, looked at lanes number 3 and 4, and you would have seen that number 4 was your lane. You don't do that. You're looking at the ones to the left. I think that's what's throwing you a bit. You realise you're in the wrong lane, but this is good. You just go where that marking tells you to do. But minor fault number 4 for going the wrong way, but you do it safely. Right into the garage, you've just gone off route, I'll redirect you. Minor fault number 5 for Jake. Jake, I can sense your body language, you're getting a bit nervous now, a bit stressed. I wouldn't bother, you've done nothing wrong. You know, you've gone the wrong way, it can happen to any of us. But what happens is when you turn right here, you do a bit of a swan neck, so you just turned a bit late. But you should have just chilled your beans and just got on with your drive. I'm not really worried that you go the wrong way when you do it safely. Just be cool. And just follow it round to the right. Just back round that way and then go left out of this. I like how Jake makes eye contact with this wagon driver to the right. So when you're stuck in traffic, learners, always make eye contact with the driver to your right. If you look at them and smile at them, they normally let you out. If you don't look at them, they normally just drive past you. And then at the roundabout, we're turning left. First serious fault for Jake. Jake, you're getting yourself flustered over nothing. You've seen that light change to amber and you got loads of time to stop. The wagon was behind, but we weren't going that fast. You just changed into second gear. You could have easily stopped the car. I think what you've done is you second guessed yourself instead of just saying, well, look, I can stop there and just stop smoothly and just be calm. But what does amber mean, Jake? It means stop unless you're too close that if you did stop could cause an accident, which it wasn't going to, or you've already crossed the white line, which we were nowhere near the white line. Can you follow the signs for Bishop Auckland? Sorry, Bishop Auckland. Council officers. Do apologise. can sense Jake starting to get stressed a bit still. He's still thinking about them traffic lights. So it's time to turn the heat up and see if I can get another serious fault out of him. If I time my wording to perfection here, these learners always stop opposite this junction and record a serious fault. Let's see if he falls in the trap. I hope his dad doesn't watch this so she has a chance to punch my lights out. Can you pull up the convenient place on the left, please? Thank you. Drive on when you feel ready. Serious fault number 2 for Jake. Yeah, I know learners like the back of my hand. It doesn't look too bad in the picture, but you see this junction to the right? He's about a metre away from this junction, even less. So Jake only had to do here, drive past this junction on the right hand side, drive past the junction on the left hand side, and the bus stop, and just pull up further down just after the bus stop. That would have been great. Picture the scenario, Jake. Imagine you're parked here, you've parked your car here, you have a car emerging left out of that junction to your right. Now it looks to the right and see it's clear. This is what drivers do, by the way. Then imagine a car overtaking us on the wrong side of the road and the car to the right pulls out without looking left, because I've seen this done before. That's one of the reasons you need to pull 10 metres away from a junction. Really close to the next parked car, but leave enough room to move off without the car length. Go a bit further forward. Keep going. That'll do, thank you. And you drive on when you feel ready. Minor fault number 6 for Jake. Jake, when you moved off the second time, you should have looked over your shoulder again. I think it was at least a good 20 seconds before we actually moved off. I like how you stopped for the oncoming traffic, because when you do this on test, learners very rarely check the road ahead for oncoming traffic. And I don't think we would see the cars that was coming. And when you look over your shoulder, you need to lean forward and turn your head more. Sometimes you just like, as if you're looking out the corner of your eye. You need to turn your head and look over, check that pavement on the other side of the road. Seventh minor fault for Jake. Jake, what happens is you leave it in second gear for moving off from behind the parked car. I don't know how you didn't stop. Well, I do know how you didn't stop, because you had your gas on first, which is good, but you need to move off in first gear on the level. Signs for Bishop Auckland. third serious fault for Jake. Jake, there was slight hesitation at the roundabout. You seen that big wagon coming from your right. I felt you could have got out onto the roundabout there. I've not marked it, but I felt you could have gone. Slight hesitation there. Okay, what you get a serious fault for, you exit the roundabout in the left lane, which is great. Your mirrors is timed properly. You signal to leave the roundabout, excellent stuff. But you leave the signal on all the way down the dual carriageway. So when you leave a roundabout, the signal doesn't normally cancel itself. So that's the first thing you do once you left in the left lane, was cancel the signal. If you watch, there's a car overtakes us and he puts his indicator on further down to tell us that we've got the signal on, so you come fuzzing a lot of other road users here. Signs for town centre. Serious fault number 4 for Jake. Jake, this is what learners are not very good at when you get nervous. You stare straight ahead. Learners, I would say, are useless, but I got wrong of somebody. Somebody left a comment saying I shouldn't say they're useless because it offends people. But learners are not very good at, when you get nervous, you're not very good at scanning the road. As soon as you left this roundabout, you should have looked down the left and right hand sides of the road. You should have checked the near distance, middle and far, and you would have clocked this sign on the left hand side where it says you can only go left to the right is for no entry except buses. When you get further down, you can see the road markings clearly. So you go in the right lane, and then when you realise, you forget to check your mirrors to come back to the left lane. There could have been anybody coming down there. So you got to see his fault for use of mirrors. Had you checked your mirrors and got over safely, you wouldn't have recorded a serious fault. But when you drive a car, Jake, you should normally keep to the left at all times unless directed by signs or markings, or you're overtaking or turning right. You should have just been keeping the car to the left, not to the right. Jake, I've not marked this because you've done nothing wrong, but when you approach this mini roundabout, we couldn't see properly. Now what happens at this mini roundabout is the traffic from your right can see clearly on approach at 12 o'clock. And I see them, when it's clear to their right, they drive pretty fast onto this roundabout. So when you come to your roundabouts like this, the mini ones especially, and you can't see properly, just roll up, put it into first gear, stop on the rise and brake, and then just gas and go. But very lucky, I've had a lot of pupils fail mock tests here because they go approaching in second gear, they can't see properly, then all of a sudden a car comes quite quickly from the right and they're going too fast, so they pull out and slow the car down. So be very careful with the mini roundabouts where you can't see properly to the right. Minor fault number 8 for Jake. He stops in third gear practically and he tries to pull off in third gear. But when this car stalls, you put it into neutral, it restarts itself, so he just drives off again. This is your reversing exercise. I'd like you to pull up alongside the car, just reverse it back into the palm position. Try to do it within 2 car lengths including your own. Have you any questions? Right. Jake, once you nudge the curb like this, it's very, very easy to correct. You made hard work of this. What you need to do is turn quickly to the left when you're going forwards, and once you're nearly parallel to the curb, turn your wheel back to the right to straighten your wheel up, and then reverse it back in that straight line. So you do all the hard work going forward when you correct the manoeuvre. That's the best way to do it. What you do is you drive forward, but you don't turn the wheel quickly to the left. What I'm impressed with was your observations. Now normally when a pupil hits a curb, I'll guarantee you on the driving test there'll be a car coming from your right, and when pupils drive forward and they don't look, which they never do, they pick up a serious fault. So your observation's very impressive. I've given you a couple of minors for shunting forwards and backwards, and the other one was for finishing too far away from the curb. Me, I don't know how the exam's marked, to be honest with you, but if you're under a drain's width, I tend to give you a minor fault. If it's over a drain's width, then I'll give you a serious fault. In the picture, it looks worse than what it is. It's under a drain's width, so get away with that by the skin of your teeth. Jake, this is minor faulty number 11. You got too close to these parked cars on your left hand side. You're doing about 28 miles per hour and you're barely just under a couple of feet. You could have moved a bit further over towards the hatch markings. You don't have to get that close to it. Just remember, as a guideline, if you're going past them at a couple of feet, only give them a couple of feet, go past the 20. If you're only giving a foot, go past them at 10 miles per hour. But a bit on the close side. Series fault number 5 for Jake. Jake, you shouldn't have followed this wagon through in front of you. You can see the white van coming towards us. You actually seen the white van. I thought you were going to stop, but you didn't. You decided to go through. You should have held back, a couple of car lengths back, just left the centre, let the white van come through. But you've just followed this wagon through. You should have waited. Second right, that's the first one. And take the second row at the right, that's your first one. Drive it forward into a bay. On the left or right, it's up to you, just drive it in. part of the test. No problem. Rest your feet.
Yep.
How did that feel?
Bad.
Bad?
Yeah.
How many serious faults do you think you've got?
5.
Oh, you're spot on. You got the same amount as your cousin,
I
Amy.
know.
Wow. What can you tell me the 5 serious faults?
I moved off in second gear.
That was that was a minor fault.
Oh, right.
Right. First serious fault. Amber light.
Yeah.
You'd see it. You've seen that you changed. What should you have done?
I should have stopped.
Could have stopped easy.
I know.
What did you do?
And just went.
Amber gamba. First serious fault. You could have stopped on the amber. Now, if you'd been a bit close, that's what I would expect you to do.
Keep going.
Just keep going. We could have stopped easy. We had the wagon driver behind us, but he was far enough back. We weren't going very fast. Now, this is me being a bit mean here. Amy will know all about this. I could sense you were getting nervous. And so I asked you to pull up on the left, and you pulled up really close to a junction on the right-hand side of the road. So what's the minimum distance you can park from a junction?
That's it, 10 feet.
10 metres, yeah. So you were, in the video might not look so bad, but you were about a metre away from it. It was a main road, so you should have 10 metres from a junction. I'll mention on video where you should have stopped. Can you remember leaving the dual carriage, turn right third exit for Bishop Auckland? Right, when you left the carriage, dual carriage, you exited the roundabout, in the left lane, which was great. But you drove all the way down the dual carriage with the indicator on for left. Can you remember?
No, I can't.
Right, well, there was a car in front of you. He even put his indicator on for left to say, look, you've left your signal on your compass, another road user. Fourth serious fault was mirrors. Can you remember when it says, I'll direct you back from here?
Yeah.
Right. When we come down that road, on the right it says buses only, no entry.
Yeah.
Which lane were you in? You were over to the right, weren't you?
Yeah.
And then when you realise you come back to the left, but what did you forget to do?
Mirrors.
You didn't check your mirrors. And the final serious fault was just on that road there. Did you see that big wagon that was parked on the left? Now you seen the wagon coming the other way. I seen you seen it. You went to stop, and then what did you do?
I went anywhere.
Why?
Don't know.
Don't know. You should have just stopped. You couldn't. There could have been a motorbike. Now, as you approached the articulate the trailer, the guy in front went straight through. You seen that because you seen the van coming, and you went to stop, and then you changed your mind, just decided to follow through blindly. Could have been a motorbike or anything. Have there been any questions before I turn this on?
No.